This is the Horse Radio Network.
This is episode 224 of the Dressage Radio Show on the Horse Radio Network, brought to you by Fleeceworks and Equisketch.
This is Reese Koffler-Stanfield from Georgetown, Kentucky.
And this is Philip Parks from Fergus, Ontario, and you're listening to the Dressage Radio Show.
Hey, Philip, how are you?
I'm good. How are you doing, Reese?
I'm great. And we have Jennifer. Jennifer's producing for us tonight. So, hi, Jen. How are you?
I forgot to mention that. Hi, Jen.
Hi, guys. I get a mention.
Yeah,
you do. Sorry. We love it when you come on.
Not really, because I harp on you about taking notes.
Yeah, well, we're just talking about the show notes.
We were talking about the show notes, and Jen likes it very organized. And I think, Jen, like I said, I actually feel that if this were my full-time job, this is what I did, I would be the same way. But Philip and I are kind of slackers when it comes to that. So Jen is on us, and I appreciate that.
I'm the mean substitute teacher that everybody hates. That's me.
But we don't hate you. We love it when you're on.
Yeah, we just got to stop slacking so much, I guess. Or
we need to stop slacking.
Do a
That's
more
the problem
complete job.
I guess exactly. We're not as complete as we should be. I kind of rosy in my cheeks. I'm a little embarrassed to tell our listeners that.
Yeah, but you guys did a great job with guests today.
Oh, it's going to be a great show. We have some love for Dressage Canada. Philip arranged for Sarah Bradley to come on. She is the Dressage Canada chair. She's great. So she's going to tell us a little love from Canada. And we have Charlotte Jorst back. She is so cute. She rides Fatalis and Adventure. And the interview was great because she talks a little bit about her life and what she does and how horses fit into her other life and her career. She's a career woman. So really, really good show. So...
Well,
Philip, how are you doing?
Yeah, well, before we get to it, we should have a little chat. I had a Facebook post that people were mentioning. It was our last show, the last show I'm coaching at this, for the season sort of thing. So I was, happy and sad to have that over and done with because, all my students were working really hard and we had such a fun year. We had so many horses going out to shows, but, it's good to be going in the season, but it's also good to, have it done with and start working on what's next. What's the next thing? We were talking about it a little bit with Charlotte about, how, when you're showing, you can't exactly get into the training as much because everything's got to be a little bit polished and, looking good and stuff like that. So I kind of like the end of the season because we can look forward to what's next and start making our next goals and stuff like that. But Reese, I think you're still in show mode right down there.
Yeah,
right?
we are. We are still in big time show mode. I'm super jealous actually from hearing that. But no, we had our Mid-South Championship horse show over the weekend, and oh gosh, everybody was great. All the horses are in really good form right now, and this week has been a little bit about just maintaining that form. But yeah, my Winnie did great. She won the 4th level and the FEI local championships. So that was fun. She's been a fun project this year. And Denali has a hurt foot, so he did not go to this horse show. And I'm hoping he'll get to the regionals. But if he doesn't, we're doing everything we can. But I'm not going to stress it. But our regionals are in Chicago next week. So we leave Wednesday. Really looking forward to that, being able to go to the regionals, and it'll be fun. We don't show so much out of town anymore, which is a luxury. We here in Lexington, we have lots of horse shows within an hour of the farm, so we're able to sort of show in this area a lot. So that'll be really fun. We're going to go, and I'm looking forward to just having everybody go. We have 5 or 6 people going and 5 or 6 horses going. So it'll be a really fun just time to chill out and spend some time with the horses and spend some time with our whole group and get to do some dinners and not have to rush home, to when we show here, everybody goes home. So that'll be fun. So that's next week. And that's the regional finals, and fingers crossed we get somebody on to the national finals. So
sounds good. Well, fingers crossed. Yeah. Good luck to the Maple Crest Farms group and all that. We'll be sending you good vibes and hopefully have good weather. It. Yeah, perfect.
Yes, exactly. I hope it'll be nice in Chicago. So I head off Wednesday, so we'll have a good report for everybody on the show after that. So looking forward to that. So, Philip, what's in the news this week?
Well, let's look at a couple of things. Equestrian sport, dressage, eventing, and jumping was voted in Sunday as one of the 25 core sports for the 2020 Olympic Games to be held in Tokyo. That will mark the 108th year that horse events will be available on the world's premier sports stage. That's the Olympics. Dressage, eventing, and jumping were first staged at the Olympics in Stockholm, 1912. So at its session Saturday, the IOC awarded Tokyo. That's the big news about the Olympic Games. It's going to host 2020. It won over the bids from Istanbul and Madrid. So that's good. And then
that's great.
A little bit of news from the USDF. Maybe you want to talk about that, Reese.
Sure, absolutely. So Anne Gribbins, a lifelong international competitor, trainer, former coach of the American team, and Charles de Cumpy, a Hungarian-born educator in classical horsemanship, have been named as the 2013 inductees to the Romer Foundation USDF Hall of Fame. And this pair will be inducted at the USDF annual award ceremony December 7th at the convention here in Lexington. So I'm hoping to be there that evening, and I'm looking forward to those. Both are wonderful people and have done a lot for the sport in dressage in the U.S. and around the world. So it'll be fun to see them getting into the Hall of Fame. And just remember, if you're ever in Lexington and want to go to the Kentucky Horse Park, the Hall of Fame is always open at the USDF office, and it's a wonderful just kind of trip through memory lane in a way, and worth a visit for sure. So they will get their pictures and information hung in there soon. So should be great. So Philip,
Wonderful.
We have a great show. So tell us a little bit about what's next.
Well, after this commercial from Fleeceworks, we have Sarah Bradley, the Dressage Canada chair. It's the first time having her on the show. I hope that we can continue to have a little bit of, like we said, Canada love, and to bring us the news from Dressage Canada, because there's a lot of, she's going to talk about, there's a lot of exciting things going on and developing projects, and we're going to hear a little bit about who Sarah Bradley is. So, after Fleeceworks.
Judy, I've been hearing a lot of good reports about this new TheraWool product line that you introduced earlier this year. Tell us what's going on there.
It's basically opened a whole new customer base for us, and it's made the product affordable for people maybe who either didn't want to use sheepskin because it does require a little bit more maintenance, the sheepskin does, than the wool, or people that just couldn't make that stretch. So it's been great. It's really, really durable, as the tagline says. Is great for daily use, beautiful enough for show.
And I think that really explains it all in a nutshell, because it is a lovely pad to look at and feel, but yet it's still an affordable pad that you can literally go to the Olympics in this saddle pad.
Yes. We worked really hard to make sure that we developed the right density and the right length. And so it took us about a year to get everything exactly right, and to make sure that when you washed it, that it didn't felt up or turn real hard or ball up. And it's a proprietary blend of product, the way we've done this to make it work.
Quality saddle pads from Fleeceworks. So folks, when you go to your local tack store, ask for Fleeceworks TheraWool pads by name. And if your local tack store doesn't have them, tell them that they need to speak with Judy at Fleeceworks. Just go to fleeceworks.com and you'll find all of our contact information there. And thanks for stopping by again, Judy, and keeping us up to date on what's going on over there.
Well, it is our pleasure to have Sarah Bradley, Dressage Canada Chair, on the show tonight. Thank you for joining us.
You're so welcome. I'm pleased to be here.
Well, why don't we start the interview with a little introduction about yourself and how you became Dressage Canada Chair.
I was asked about 18 months ago by Equine Canada Sport Council if I would be willing to take on the role. Dressage had struggled for several years finding someone who had the time to commit to it. Had some fabulous people who preceded me in the role, but just didn't have, sort of the time to be able to do what the job entails. And so the Sport Council asked if I would take it on temporarily, and then we had elections. We're in the process of re-electing or electing to some of the positions on the Dressage Canada board, and the other board members asked if I would stay on. And I've had such a good time over the last, sort of 18 months that I said I would. So my background, obviously, is not in dressage.
So, Sarah, can you tell us a little bit about what your equine background is?
Yeah, I'm a level 3 3-day event coach. So in Canada, we have a nationally organized coaching certification program that's called the National Coaching Certification Program. It's not equestrian specific. It is all sports. And level 1 would be, the names have changed over the last couple of years, but you can be either an instructor beginner or a competition coach or competition coach specialist, or I came through before the names changed. So level 3 is basically a national bordering on international level coach. So I have ridden to the 2-star level in eventing and also coached to the 2-star level in eventing. Had a number of former students of mine have now been members of the Canadian equestrian team for eventing, not for dressage. But that gave me the necessary high performance background to understand, about high performance sport. But in my day-to-day life, I also had quite a large equestrian center in Surrey, British Columbia, which I sold a couple of years ago. So, to earn my living, I coached everything from beginners, up-down beginners, all the way up to the 2-star level. So I also have, a pretty good grasp of grassroots. And the sort of very beginning of people getting involved in equestrian sport.
So, Sarah, why don't you tell us a little bit about what's involved with being Dressage Canada chair?
Well, it's a volunteer position, so that's the first thing that everybody needs to know.
Right.
God bless you. That's all I gotta say.
Yeah, it's a volunteer position. Equine Canada has a structure similar to most other Canadian sport organizations, in that there are volunteer committees who set policy for the various disciplines and help with a lot of the work that goes on. There's just not enough people in this country to support having full-time staff to do all of that work. So what I do is chair the Dressage Canada board meetings. The Dressage Canada board is made up of the various chairs of each of the subcommittees. So we have a high performance committee, which looks after all of the high performance end of things. So Pan Am's, World Equestrian Games, Olympics, senior high performance athletes, programs, plans, logistics, all of that. We have a youth high performance committee, which looks after our Young Riders program and helps with the transition for the kids coming out of Young Riders. I shouldn't call them kids because they're not. But the young athletes that we would consider to be transitioning into our junior team, hopefully, and then hopefully on a road to becoming senior team members. We also have a rules committee, an officials committee, a domestic development committee, and a finance and fundraising committee. So each of those chairs make up the Dressage Canada board, and then I chair those meetings and kind of keep tabs on the activities of each committee to make sure that everybody's working together as a team as we try and grow the sport in Canada.
Wow. Yeah, that's really, it's interesting, the difference between the U.S. system and your guys' system. It's really fascinating to see how each country does things. So tell us, what is kind of new at Dressage Canada?
The really big new stuff is, trying to, and it's very much a work in progress, but the high performance programs, we lost a substantial amount of funding. We have this Canadian funding program called Own the Podium. And Own the Podium basically rewards results. So if as a sport you are targeted to finish in the top 4, top 5, or medal at the next Olympics or Pan Am Games, they have an amount of federal budget money that gets allocated to your sport specific for your high performance programs. And we did not perform as well as we had hoped in London. We were plagued a little bit by, a really unfortunate incident with David Marcus and his horse. And that meant that we didn't finish a team. And because we didn't finish a team, that was the way the FEI had set up the scoring, et cetera, because it was 3 riders and all 3 scores had to count. We ended up being cut from the OTP funding. We still have some core federal funding from our government, but it's not very much. And so that created a big gap. So really the big news for us is that a really lovely lady named Desi Dillingham, who is Canadian born but has worked in England for a substantial part of her life, offered to get involved and help us with some fundraising and help us with developing plans that are not government dependent. We're really hoping to get away from the dependence on government funding and be able to, find sponsorship and fundraise for our senior team and not be in a position to be reliant on our federal money. So that's really the sort of big news. And she's put together, along with our finance and fundraising chair, Michael Horgan, a really solid team of people who are interested in developing ongoing sponsorship and fundraising for dressage. And then with that, we're starting to build. We had put a call out for applicants for our chef de keep / technical leader position. That's still very much a work in progress. We had 14 really good applicants, but we haven't selected a final one at this point. So once we have someone in that role, we should be able to start helping our senior athletes. Obviously the short-term focus is WEG, but looking longer term than that, building stuff for real. We also have a couple of new funding opportunities for domestic development. We have this interesting levy system where competitors across the country contribute a small amount of money per, right now it's per show that goes into a levy fund, and we're redistributing that money out through our provincial organizations to help fund bringing judges to some of the areas that otherwise wouldn't be able to afford to bring judges in. And they're running training days, but bringing in, if they can find an FEI judge, that would be great. But if not, bringing in Equine Canada certified judges. We're calling that our Give It a Go program. So that's piloting in the Maritime provinces and then in Manitoba and the Yukon. So pretty excited about that too.
That sounds great. I mean, part of the real problems is the size of our country and getting people together, right? And having education programs that bring people to the more remote areas. Not to say there's not dressage out there, but there's not really, it's hard to get coaches out to the areas, right? And that requires a lot of money. and that's a big time investment. So that program sounds good. Is there any other kind of programs that are in the works that are going on? Any other new news from Dressage Canada?
I think the other news is the election process. In some of our chair positions, we only had the incumbent willing to let their name stand. But in our high performance, for the high performance chair, we've actually got 3 candidates, all of whom would be fabulous in the role. Gina Smith has been the high performance chair for 4 or 5 years now. But we also have Tony Eames rather. He is Belinda Trussell's dad and has been involved. Belinda's been a team athlete, and he and his wife Robin have been involved, for a number of years supporting Belinda. And a lovely lady named Liz Stacy, who took part in organizing the summit that we had in Florida. And any one of them would be just a fabulous high-performance chair. So, the next step for that is we have about 2,800 people across the country who are affiliated through their Equine Canada membership. They are directly affiliated with Dressage, so they've self-identified as being dressage enthusiasts. They get to elect the next high-performance chair, and that election closes in mid-October. So there's an online voting system, and online voting is fairly new to Equine Canada. It's worked quite successfully for a couple of the other disciplines over the last couple of years. But that's kind of new as well. That the people who are out, and paying the money at the grassroots level actually get to have a direct say in what happens at the Dressage Canada board. So pretty excited about that.
Yeah, that sounds good. Yeah, I saw that come through via email, and so that's great. To everybody gets a voice, right? I think that's important, and that's been hard in the past in the voting processes. So it's great that technology can kind of bring us closer and help out with a lot of these issues and problems of distance, right?
Yeah, I think it just hasn't been possible, and in some cases, it still isn't possible if you don't have a high-speed internet connection.
Right.
And the reality in Canada is there's a lot of people that don't have, a high-speed internet connection. But, if you can get to your local library or, a local community center that does, then, you'd hopefully be able to cast your vote, which is great.
Yeah, wonderful. Well, Sarah, thank you so much for coming on the show with us today and updating us on Dressage Canada. How can people find, more information?
Equine Canada's website.
Yeah.
If you go to, that would be the first place. If you go to the Equine Canada website and you look under sport or under disciplines, across the header there will be a whole bunch of tabs across the top, and you go to disciplines and then select Dressage. All of the various programs and information are posted there. Also, minutes from our Dressage Canada board meetings are posted there once they're approved. So people can go there. We also have a Dressage Canada Facebook page, which is probably updated. Well, it certainly is updated more frequently than the website because news releases and information about programs is also put there, and then it links back to the website. So if you search on Facebook for Dressage Canada, you will find our Dressage Canada Facebook page.
Perfect. Great. Well, I hope that we can do this again soon. Thank you very much.
You're very welcome. Thanks for inviting me on.
Well, that was a great interview with Sarah Bradley, and we look forward to having her on the show and more Canada love for Philip and all our listeners in Canada. And after this commercial break from EquiSketch, we have Charlotte Jorst on, and she's going to tell us a little bit about what happened at the Young Horse National Finals, the Markel Young Horse National Finals. And it'll be interesting because she comes into a little bit about her life outside of horses. So enjoy.
Glenn the Geek here. The life of horse person is hard enough, and we all hate doing the required paperwork, and unfortunately many of us never get around to it, and it just piles up on our desk. That is about to change thanks to the EquiSketch Records app for your iPhone or iPad. My wife and I use it to track our horses, and we absolutely love this thing. EquiSketch Records is the most thorough and complete equestrian records app on the market today. We love this app because you can track your farrier work, your dental, your coggins, medicines, worming, and so much more. And you can get reminders on your device when all of these things are due. You'll never forget a worming or shots or farrier visit again. But it not only tracks your horse, you can also manage your horse shows, including individual events. You can manage riders, including lessons and memberships, and so much more. And you can sync it between your iPhone and your iPad, and all of this for the price of a couple of cups of coffee from Starbucks. Search for EquiSketch Records in the iOS App Store or go to equisketch.com. That's EquiSketch.com. EquiSketch.com.
Well, it is truly a pleasure to have Charlotte Jorst back on the show. She promised us before the Young Horse Finals that she would come back on as the winner, and she was not just the winner. She blew everybody out of the water in the 6-year-old finals with Vitalis. Charlotte, welcome back, and I can't wait to hear about how Chicago went.
Well, I'm so excited to be back. Thank you so much for having me. It's been a whirlwind, that's for sure. Chicago was wonderful.
Super. And you were fantastic, huh?
Well, it was just really fun. I've always had this dream of going to Lamplight, and you see pictures of it, and then all of a sudden you're there, and it was just a really spectacular event, and everything was so well organized, and Vitalis was so comfortable, and you know how I said I felt that all the arenas were really awkward in Germany. Here they were just the way I usually have them, so it was really perfect for me. I was so happy to be back where I could figure everything out, and people were friendly. It was just a great, great show.
Well, last time we talked to you, you were kind of preparing to go there, and seeing how the horses were gonna be in the new place. So tell us a little bit about what you did to prepare for the show. How did you prepare the horse for the test, and a little bit more detail about how the tests went.
Yeah, well, I came on a Saturday night from Germany, and then I'm just gonna have to go. It's like this. I'm gonna have to go out. I'm sorry. I'm in the car here. I just have to go out. Okay, and then so I came really late at night, and it was like all dark, and I rode the horses in the dark, and they hadn't been out, so they were really fresh. And then I had another 10 days to ride them there at Lamplight, and it was really great. It was fun to see how the whole show built up, just like I've seen in Germany, and it was just really, really wonderful. The horses felt very good. I rented a bike, and I biked back and forth to the show every day as well. So that was super fun.
Ah, that's great. So tell us about how Vitalis did and what your tests were like.
The tests were great. Like I said, Vitalis was just super, super happy to be there, and I was really happy. I was much less nervous, and I was just really happy. I did a warm-up test on Thursday, which was great. I hadn't been able to do that in Germany at all, and I was able to do that there. So that was really helpful for me. And then he was just a trooper. He's never really different. So he wasn't there either, and I just felt so comfortable, and people were so nice, and we were just having a great time.
Ah, super. Well, tell our listeners what your scores were, because your scores were phenomenal.
They were great. The first I had a 10 in the trot, and I like can't even remember the rest of the scores, but it was very high. I think it was like 9.5, and then I got like an 8 point something, and it was just amazing. It was just really, really, really fun to have gone through something like that. And I was so glad I did it because, you know, it's fun to be on American soil and support everything that's being done here. So I was really happy that I did it.
Absolutely. And you were record breaking. I mean, you broke the record for the 6-year-old finals, didn't you?
I think I did. Yeah, I think
Got it, girl.
She wasn't really focused on it too much, right? She was just you were having too much fun, Charlotte, to worry about breaking records and all
I
that.
was having a lot of fun. It's true. I was having a lot of fun.
There's nothing wrong with that. That's what we do. We all forget. That's actually what we're doing here is we're trying to have fun. So Charlotte, tell us, you are such an interesting lady, and you don't train horses professionally, correct?
No, I don't train horses professionally at all.
So what do you do?
You know, I actually work for the company. We sold our company last year, and I work for the company that bought it from us, and they're called Fossil. And then, you know, I also started a line of shirts, riding shirts that's called Castell. But I'm very, very busy. I'm actually on my way back from Dallas right now. I've been in Dallas 4 days where we work for this company that purchased Skagen. So it's very, very, very busy. I'm looking so much forward to getting back to Reno and getting back and sleeping in my own bed. I haven't been there since June. So it's just been crazy.
You really have been crazy. So, Charlotte, tell all of our listeners, I mean, we were chatting a little bit before the horse show. You know, it's so hard to balance life and work and horses, and you've done an incredible job. And obviously, you know, your horses are amazing. And how do you do it all?
Well, I just think you can't expect the unreasonable of yourself. You just have to try to do your very best. And you know, sometimes it's great and sometimes it isn't. And like now I have the CDS championships next week. So obviously I'm not going to be in tip-top shape since I haven't ridden for like 2.5 weeks. And most of the horses haven't even been ridden by me for two months. So, you know, it is what it is. And you just try to do your best. And I think a lot of people take it so seriously. You can't do that. You have to go in with what you have and just enjoy it and have fun. Because if you wanted it to be perfect every time, you'd never do anything.
Yeah, I think that's important to remember is that, you know, everybody has their own things, right? Everyone's an individual and everybody has their own individual horses, right? And we're all unique and all of our situations are unique. And, you know, when we bring that to a show or competition, it's hard to compare, you know, yourself to someone else's situation, right? I mean, all you get is scores, and I think you just have to be, you know, I think, you know, for myself, I'm just really grateful that I get to do this and I get to ride every day. And even if you don't get to do it every day, you just got to enjoy the times when you do, because I think in the end it's supposed to be fun. Right, Reese?
It's supposed to be fun, and it is what it is. You know, what are you going to do? I mean, you're only in there 6 minutes. If you can just prepare the horse to do its best during those 6 minutes, then I think you're good.
Oh, it's so true. And Charlotte, do you do anything when you're traveling for work? Do you do anything for fitness or kind of staying in the mental kind of groove for horses, or is it all work?
You know, this time it's been mostly of the time when we go to Dallas. It's really, really, it's like nonstop. But I actually did try to swim every morning here. But it usually it's just so much, you know, because we come like once a month and everything is cramped into those 4 days. So all the line reviews of all the watches and jewelry and all that. So I try, but you know, just like everything else, it's hard to do.
That sounds fun. I want to come look at jewelry. That would be fun. I like that.
It is. I have so much fun. And I think it's so much fun to do different things. And it's really rewarding and it's really fun. And I just thrive on doing a lot of different things. I think it's fun. I think you need to embrace it because otherwise, you know, do you all want to ride horses all day long every day? I don't think so.
Yeah, some days, Charlotte, it's not as good as it sounds.
Exactly.
Well, but it's just like
I think
anything,
it's good to take a break.
Yeah,
It's good to take a break once in a while.
For sure, trainers have to take a break. You can't do it all the time because at the end of the day, you get burnt out, and we do talk about that on the show and how that works. So yes, balance is always important in any sport. And for us, as trainers, it sounds great. We get to ride our horses all day long, but there are challenges just like anything else. And just like yourself, you're working and you haven't been able to be with your horses because you had to be somewhere for work. And I think that's always the balance with horses and riding. So it's so important to be able to balance. And I think you have just such a healthy way of looking at it, and things will happen the way they're going to happen, and you've got to enjoy the ride. And I think that's so important. So, but Charlotte, tell us, going back to the horses, what are your horses doing, and sort of what's your plan for the next couple months?
Well, now I'm going to do the CDS Championship next week, and then I will. Then I think I'm just going to buckle down and see where I can take them next, because I'm not really going to travel so much. We're going back to Dallas in October, but not until then. So I'm just going to really buckle down, see where I can take it. I want to bring Adventure, who got, runner-up in the developing Prix St. George. I want to take him and see if I can get him to Grand Prix next year. And I want to see if I can get Vitalis to Prix St. George, and I won. And so, you know what, this is a fun time because you get to train new things. I love this, when I come back from shows, because you've been so focused on that one thing. So to come back now and see if Vitalis will do changes every fourth ride and all the stuff I haven't been able to even touch on. So I'm looking so much forward to just riding on my own, not having everybody watch, and just have fun with everything.
Well,
so it's going to be a fun couple of weeks of a month.
It sounds like it. Yeah, it sounds like it.
It'll be outstanding.
Yeah, fall is a great time. It's a great time to just sort of take a deep breath after all your finals or, regional finals are coming up for everybody, and, just take a deep breath and look at what you've done, and you've had an amazing year, but also look forward to what can you do and give your horses a little time, but also how you get, where you're going to go. Philip, is that you guys just finished your show season 2, didn't you?
Well, unfortunately, it's a little bit of
it's
just a little bit of a weird year because now that the shows are over, I switched my focus to wedding planning. So that's going to be my next couple of months.
Yay! Wedding planning for Philip. But see, that's the balance we're talking about.
Yeah, we get to. I haven't really been that involved in the last couple months, but now it's buckle down time. We got a month and a half to go. So really planning things out.
Oh my God!
That the details are taken care of, and really looking forward to that.
So. Charlotte, aren't you impressed that he's going to help with wedding planning? I don't think my husband did it all.
You know what? I think my mom did it all. It's been so long though that I can't even remember what. Congratulations! So that's outstanding.
Yeah, we're really looking forward to it, and so with certain things I like to be just right, and then so I'm gonna try and get involved a little bit to make sure we're gonna have a good day. So. Yeah, that's a little bit the focus now. But normally, I would take a step back in the fall a little bit and, play with the horses, maybe do a little bit more hacking than what we would normally do and, just take a breather because, the riders need it and the horses need it and, just take a little bit of time. So that's great.
Well, Charlotte, we can't wait to stay in touch with you and see how you're doing and how your break and leads to wonderful things next year. We're looking forward to seeing both your horses again next year. And we love when you come on the show, so I hope you'll come back again.
Oh, my gosh, I'm going to come back. And good luck with everything this fall to you guys. It's going to be a great time for you, too.
Thanks so much, and we'll stay in touch and can't wait to have you back on the show next year.
Okay, guys, have a wonderful day. Thank you so much.
Well, I always love when Charlotte comes on the show. She is so precious, and it's really fun to hear. She's so successful, but she does have another business and another life, and she has to juggle like everybody else. And we were literally talking with her as she was traveling in the Dallas airport. So thank you for coming on the show and talking to us about all her life, what she does in her life, and it's challenging. So, but Philip, we had a great show this week, and we're looking forward to talking with everyone next week. Feel free to send us email or Facebook shout-outs or questions. We always love those.
Yeah, it's
and
a bit of a shame we don't have
we don't have any love this week.
We don't have any shout-outs or any good questions, so then
we love them.
Come on, people.
On our own.
Come on. We want questions.
Just us.
Conversation.
Yeah. Well, everybody, you can find our show notes and links to today's guests on our website, dressageradio.com. You can like us on Facebook. Just search Dressage Radio Show. Follow us on Twitter at Horse Radio. My website is maplecrestfarmky.com, and you can reach me by email at reese@horseradionetwork.com.
You can find me on the internet at philipparksequestrian.com, and my email is philip@horseradionetwork.com. I'd like to thank our sponsors this week for allowing us to put on a great show, Fleeceworks and Equisketch. And don't forget to check out all the other great shows on the Horse Radio Network at horseradionetwork.com. Pretty simple.
Everybody, keep your heels down and your shoulders back, and we will talk to you next week.